A father lay covered in blood, clutching a photograph of his children. This poignant image would inspire the establishment of an orphanage. Yet, this charity would become one of the most disturbing institutions in history. On the 20th of November 1866, the doors of a building, constructed for a seemingly perfect purpose, were opened. This place was to be a shelter for the children of soldiers who had fallen in the Civil War. At first, it was just that, until everything took a horrifying turn. 7,000 soldiers died at the Battle of Gettysburg, but one of them was very different from the rest. He died, holding a photograph of his 3 small children. On the morning of the 1st of July 1863, a sergeant named Amos Humiston was breathing his last near a brick factory in Gettysburg. Shot, he had collapsed to the ground. In his final moments, he took out a photograph sent by his wife from his pocket, an image of his 3 children. When his body was found 3 days after his death, his fingers were still tightly gripping that photograph. This single photograph touched the heart of a nation. But could this pain truly be transformed into a force for good? Dr. John Francis Burns, who found the photograph, mobilized to discover Amos's identity. The story spread in the newspapers and finally reached Amos's wife, Philinda. Burns decided to create meaning from this tragedy, to establish a permanent home for orphans. The Gettysburg Orphanage was thus born, and among its first residents were Amos's 3 children. Everything seemed perfect, until the monster arrived. In its early years, the orphanage was a model institution. The children were well fed, educated, and participated in community activities. Even President Grant had visited. However, in 1870, everything changed. A woman named Rosa J. Carmichael was appointed head matron. She was said to be disciplined. In reality, she was a sadist. In the basement, there was a small windowless room that the children called the pit. Those who entered were left in the dark for days, along with rats. Rosa's punishment methods were horrific. She would tie children to barrels filled with cold water. She forced them to stand for hours, beating those who fell. She locked them in the outdoor toilets. She used an orphan she called a whipping boy to beat the others. Even the youngest children were subjected to these tortures. One child died mysteriously and was buried in the garden. An autopsy revealed the truth. He had been starved to death. On Christmas Eve, 1,876 cemetery workers heard the cries for help of a child who was about to freeze. An orphan named Georgie had been locked in a toilet. This incident was the last straw. Richard, nicknamed the Whipping Boy, walked 32 kilometers to reach the authorities and told them the truth. Rosa was fined only $25 and ordered to leave town. And then, she vanished one night. The court found Rosa guilty of only one charge. Her punishment was symbolic. Soon after, she disappeared one night. No one knew what happened. Some said she was lynched, others that she fled with a new identity. Burns, for his part, was never held accountable for embezzling funds. Today, visitors claim they still hear the sounds of children crying. Feelings that there is something in the building are strong. The old orphanage still stands today. Visitors report strange occurrences. The sensation of being tugged by the legs, whispers and crying sounds of children, small handprints on windows, the apparition of a tall, stern-looking woman, a playful ghost named Adam who asks for a birthday wish. During restoration work in 2025, a child's rib bone was found. What did the Gettysburg Orphanage teach us? How can good intentions turn into darkness? This story shows the dangers of unchecked power. John's greed beneath his charitable facade, Rosa's sadism, the indifference of the authorities, they all ruined the lives of innocent children. The building still stands today both as a historical monument and as a silent witness to humanity's dark side. History sometimes hides the most unsettling stories. The Gettysburg Orphanage is one of them, the tragic tale of an institution that began with good intentions but ended in horror. And perhaps the whispers that still echo within its walls are whispering a lesson we must never forget. Protecting our most vulnerable is the true measure of our civilization.